Hey, good day, Calvary family. Great to be with you. I want to share with you something out of First Chronicles. It's really a theme that we see David introducing to Israel. David is that great king of Israel and reformer of Israel, and he introduced a profound way to Israel that became just part of their existence. And that theme, real simple, it's thanks, the giving of thanks. And it's not that Israel didn't have this theme before, but because of who David is or was and his love for God, he made like giving thanks part of the air that Israel breathed. But before we go to First Chronicles, let me just give you a couple of heads up on things that are up and coming. In 10 days from today, we're going to have a baptism. So that's November 13th. And so if you have not been baptized since you've decided to follow Jesus, the waters await you. I mean, you might have been baptized when you were a kid and all that stuff, great. But like, since you've decided to follow Jesus, if you haven't been baptized, it's time to get baptized. It's time to pass through the waters in your identity with Jesus. So sign up for that. It's calvarysouthbury.info. There's a sign up there. There's also one in the lobby at church. Yeah, get baptized. Baptisms are absolutely amazing. And you guys know who have been here for the baptisms, you know they are a sight to see. And the way that God just meets people in those waters is simply breathtaking. And so get baptized, invite your friends, your enemies, your family to see it. You just might see that, God will open up their hearts too, and they might become followers of Jesus and join you in the water. Second, we're back at First John this Sunday. So we took a little break from First John to do our series, How Can I Hear God? And that series over now, or should we say it's just begun. But anyway, we're going back to First John, and we're going to be in that book to the end of the year, beginning of the new year. So great book, First John. It was written for a few reasons. One of the reasons we're going to see is that we might not sin. So taking off all those destructive, dehumanizing ways of sin and things that are aberrant to God and who God is, and instead putting those things away and entering in truly to what it means to be created in the image of God and how to bring glory to Him. So that's some of the stuff we're going to see in First John. Another reason why First John was written was so that we may know that we have eternal life. And so if that's ever been a question for you, or you know somebody who that's a question for, this is the book for them. Don't miss out on that. And then lastly, and then we're going to get in Chronicles. We're approaching New Year now, right? So January 1st is a Sunday. And so on that Sunday, we're going to be kicking off a 4 for 40 fast. And we're not going to do this every year, but this year we're going to do it at the beginning of the year. Again, 2024, we're talking about doing it around leading up to Easter. And so, but first, this year, 2023, we're going to start it with the new year. And it's a fast because a fast is when we give up something for a set period of time. And so we're going to be encouraging you to take 2 things off during this fast and put 2 things on. So you have a lot of time to be praying about this. That's why I'm giving you a heads up now. And so there might be something in your life where God's been trying to speak to you about, and you keep on saying, it's not the right time, or I'm going to get around to it. You ever have one of those? Okay, well, time to get around to it. It's January 1st. So for some of you guys, you might want to start putting off 2 things like the news. If you're a news junkie, put off news. You're not a pleasant person when you view the news all the time. So like a great thing to do, put off, just a little social experiment for you. Or it might be social media. Social media might be your thing, and it's become a worship thing or a thing of self-deprecation or an envy thing. Time to put it off. It might be a food or a meal or something, like skip lunch for 40 days. Whatever it is, encouraging you, plan now so that when we launch this, you're already prepared and it will be transformative for your life. I know it's going to be. And I know there's some people that are just like, well, I don't really like to give things up and stuff like that. So what? We're called to, if we're going to follow Jesus, to deny self, pick up our cross daily, and follow after Him. So figure it out where to deny self. And And let's do this for 40 days, starting the new year. I know Jesus is calling us deeper in 2023, and it's going to be amazing. I know it is. So anyway, 4 for 40 is going to kick off January 1st. Okay, Chronicles. First Chronicles. This great reformer, David, King David, in the 11th century BC, he knew God had set apart Israel to be the light of the world. He knew that. So he brought the worship of God to a central place in Israel, and that's Jerusalem. So Jerusalem's going to be the city. And you could read about David doing this whole movement of moving the Ark of the Covenant into Jerusalem. It starts in 1 Chronicles chapter 13. Disastrous, absolutely disastrous at first. The Ark of the Covenant represents God's presence, okay? But it was disastrous when he first did it. 3 months later, David again is going to move the Ark of the Covenant in, and here we're going to pick up in chapter 15. It says this: David built houses for himself in the city of David, and he prepared a place for the ark of God and pitched a tent for it. And David said, "No one may carry the ark of God but the Levites, for Yahweh has chosen them to carry the ark of God and to minister before him forever." That's one of the reasons why it was disastrous before. He didn't do that. Okay, verse 3. And David gathered all Israel together at Jerusalem to bring up the ark of Yahweh to its place, which he prepared for it. And here's the movement, moving the Ark of the Covenant into Jerusalem. And it's going to be done with great, great praise. And so there's a whole bunch of people giving listed there. And then we jump down to verse 25, and it says, So David, the elders of Israel, and the captains over thousands went to bring up the Ark of the Covenant of Yahweh from the house of Obed-Edom with joy. So what did they do? They brought it up specifically with joy. And this is going to be something that David saw as absolutely essential in the worship of God and to be done when worshiping God. And that was to have joy. Why have joy? Simply because he's good. And so David, for this occasion, he wrote a new psalm, and it's recorded in chapter 16. I'm going to read 2 stanzas of it, starting in verse 8. This is his psalm. Listen to the joy in it. Oh, give thanks to Yahweh. Call upon his name. Make known his deeds among the people. Sing to him. Sing psalms to him. Talk of his wondrous works. Glory in his holy name. Let the hearts of those rejoice who seek Yahweh. Seek Yahweh and his strength. Seek his face forevermore. Remember his marvelous works which he has done, and his wonders and the judgments of his mouth. So full of joy, full of thanks. And going on, if you follow the passages through, you're going to see David sets up the whole system of the order of the worship and how it's going to be done. And then we get to verse 41. So jumping down more in chapter 16, after we're seeing some of the order, it says, and with them, some of these men that are in charge of different things will be Heman and Jethan, and the rest who were chosen, who were designated by name, to give thanks to Yahweh, because his mercy endures forever. So did you catch that? David appointed people just to give thanks. There's going to be musicians, and they're going to be singing, and they're going to be appointed for that. And many times music and thanks go hand in hand. But David saw it as a necessity to appoint people just to give thanks to God. And you go well, why did he do that? Because David knew something. He knew thanks changes everything. It does. And back then, as it is now, many things, they distract us. They demand our attention. And we can become a people that move through our days and move through our weeks and move through our months and move through our years and not see God and his activity in our midst. So stopping that, thanks stops the numbing of that stuff. And so thanks is remembering what God has done and praising him for it. It stops. It looks around and it goes, Oh yeah, Jesus, thank you. And it remembers what God has done or what God is doing. And David saw it as a necessity for worship to God and drawing near to him. And so I encourage you, even in this day, incorporate thanks into your day. Like you can set your alarm for this. You make it mechanical at first. If you don't have a habit of giving thanks, make it mechanical. Set your alarm and the alarm goes off and then you stop. And just for like 2 minutes, you just look around and you give thanks for something that Jesus has done or what he's doing in you right now. You can start with it like 4 times a day. Choose the time, set your alarm, do it for 2 minutes. So many of God's kids don't see him active in their lives simply because the hurry of life has made them numb to the things of God and to God himself. Thanks is a good way to start seeing how active he is in you and all around you. So see you guys on Sunday. God bless you. Thanks for listening. And do your thing with this, share it, thumbs up it, all that stuff. All right. Talk to you soon.